All right, y'all, how's it going this morning? This is going to be an interesting series of videos, and I'm going to make it a series. I was sitting there thinking about it, doing this video. I've been trying to get out and do this video for quite some time now, and I've been really wanting to. But I finally get a chance to. I've been, a whole lot of factors kept me from doing it. I do it with like Spencer and some, stuff like that, where we go out, go camping, have a good time. But I've always wanted to come out here on the river, which I've done it in the past, but just been in different boats that we've actually camped on the boat, stayed up all night, whatever. Well, this trip is going to be 36 hours. So I gave myself 36 hours. So we're on the water. It is 6 o'clock. We're on the water, 6:09 to be exact. So I don't plan on coming off the water till tomorrow at this time in the evening. So I think by my math that was 36 hours. But anyway, so it's going to give me a good all-day trip, and it's going to give me a good all-night trip that we're going to camp up on the boat, and we're going to stay kind of in an area where I think flatheads will be moving, maybe even big blues. I don't care, big blues also. But so you can see I've got so that's the food cooler, bait cooler, all my camping stuff, sleeping bag and whatnot in there. I got my cooker, stuff like that. So we're good. We got food. If it comes down to it, I can catch some, but we got food in there, got breakfast, got things to do or to have, for this evening, snacks and whatnot. So we're gonna get after it, y'all. I've been wanting to do this video for so long. And the thing is we gotta catch bait. So what like I said, I'm gonna break this video down. If I'm thinking right, I should be able to break it down into 4 parts, because I know nobody's gonna want to watch a 36-hour long video, so I'm definitely not doing that. So I'm gonna come up. I got to come up here and try to catch bait. I'm gonna hit a bunch of my bait spots today to try to get enough good bait for the next 36 hours, because I want to put myself in pretty good position. Now the difference we got is they have absolutely sucked the bottom out of this river, so we're about half a foot above summer pool, which is good. It's good for me. It pulls them fish back out. But when that happens, they start pulling a lot of trash out to the river also. So that's kind of one of the things we got to look out for, especially tonight. But I've got a couple spots in mind that I think will, 1, hold fish, and 2, will be safe, especially out of like barge traffic, trash line, stuff like that. Because when I'm at night, and if I'm sitting in an area, I don't typically, use the trolling motor for spot lock, because if you're asleep and then it dies for some reason, well, you could end up, in my case, I could end up in Paducah. So I don't want to do all that. So we'll be using the anchor tonight. So like I said, there's a risk involved in that, especially when there's trash floating down the river. So I have to pay attention to that, see how it looks throughout the day. We get this wind to pick up. Supposed to have a slight breeze. That's pretty much all we're supposed to have the next couple days. So that ought to be in our favor. But if we can get it to one, to blow the trash from one side or the other, that should be even better. But we're gonna slip up here, try to catch us some bait. Ideal bait that I want to get, so I want to get white bass, yellow bass, bluegill, possibly some skipjack if they're up here messing around, because the water's fairly clean now. So yeah, that's going to be the plan. So I'm going to ease on up here and we'll see what we can't catch. All right, so we made it, which we didn't have to go far. I'll tell y'all, the one thing about hummingbird, which is kind of weird, is I sit there and I keep my, the map that or my deal that I want up, and then it always changes on me. I don't know, something I got to get used to, I guess. Well, we're going to work this bank, see if we can't find us some skipjack. Get up around that point where them ospreys are, because they absolutely love it when I get up there around that. But last time I was here, the water was up and there was a few skipjack running this little spot here, but it looks like there is a ton of shad up there. So here's a fish. Oh, it came off, little skipper. But it looks like there's a ton of shad up there. We could just find a concentration, which I've got a couple spots, a couple more bait spots that we're gonna hit, but main thing is I want to try to get yellow bass, white bass, and bluegill. And like I said, skipjack could be a bonus, but especially tonight, I'm gonna run, I'm gonna run live baits. I'm gonna run cut baits, because to be honest with you, out here I've caught more bigger flatheads on cut bait than I ever have on live bait. But it's still not gonna keep me from putting it out. So we'll work our way up here with my little sabiki rig set up. And we'll cast around the old white bass magnet. We'll see what that does, and if nothing, then we'll run back into this creek over here and try to catch us a bunch of bluegill. All right, well, it's nothing out here. That's kind of weird. But let's go see if we can't go in this bay over here and catch us some bluegill. At least get some bait in the boat. Work on something, because like I said, the rest of my bait spots are further north that we could hit. Need to make it over there without hitting a bunch of this trash. But like I said, we'll bounce around quite a bit trying to find bait, because I want some good bait, especially for when it comes this evening. I want some good bait. So we've got a lot of searching to do before we get all that. But all right, so we're up here at my favorite little rock wall. It's always been pretty good for some bluegill. And if that's all we catch for bait, I really don't care, to be honest with you. I'd much rather use bluegill anyway. I say that just in case we don't catch anything else. But I think we will. I've just got too many spots we could go. So it's gonna be kind of noisy since I'm up here by this bridge. We will just see what's up here. Because I ain't 100% sure if these bluegill, they spawn on these rocks here. I'm not real sure. It may go back that way, but we'll mess around up here. There we go. Got our first piece of bait. It's a good one too. All right, let me get him in the live well. Some more flathead candy. Oh. Easy, buddy. Here, flop that way. Are you done? Thank you. Yep, got me another piece of flathead candy. Yep, another one. So I know these ones are, this one here is a little bit smaller. If I can do it without dropping him. I know it's a little bit smaller, but that is my absolute favorite. Absolute favorite when it comes to them flatheads. Because if I've ever used live bait, that's about the size that I've used and done really well. It seems like those ones get slurped up at first. Oh, dog. Oh, and he come off. No, that was a good one. Let's see if I get this camera turned, the old boat. Get the camera turned here. Oh yeah, little yellow bass. Now see, those are my favorite also, keeping them dudes alive. That's also another one of my favorites. You, sir, are the perfect size going in the live well. Oh, man, as soon as they hit the water, man, hopefully we can sit right here and just wear them out. That'd be all right. I don't know how I missed that one. I mean, he took the bobber under. There we go. Another little yellow bass. Heck yeah. Like I said, these size here, they're perfect little morsels. But have enough bait, we're gonna catch a lot of those. Must have had a school of them yellow bass come through. Oh. That little piece of worm, that's what I've been catching the last few fish on. Let me add to that, see if that helps our cause any. Let's see if that helps her cause. I bet it does. Another yellow bass? No, it's a blue. No, it's another nice yellow bass. Heck yeah. Now that's even better. I want to get some I can cut up too. No. Like we'll get to use something other than shad for once. I don't hate that. I mean, still gonna catch shad because we're gonna run some baits on these fish. Well, today and this evening, then again tomorrow. But I like getting these fish because they'll stay in the live well. I guess old live well does a pretty good job keeping them alive, you know, or what I call my bait well, I guess. Oh, that's a nice yellow bass. Heck yeah. Let me get this cast back out there. That is a nice yellow bass. Ah, come on, buddy. Yeah, look at that dude. I can get a couple good pieces off of him. We'd like to get more bluegill, but like I said, we got time. We got plenty of time. Oh, how'd I miss him? The little dude was slipping off. Oh, no way. He must be an itty bitty one. He can't get that small hook in his mouth. Well, anyway, I'll tell you the setup I got here. This is just oh, it's an old cheap rod. I can't remember. This is it's a 7-foot medium action. I think I got 8-pound mono on it. Got a little 2500 series reel, and then it's just a little, little peg float. I do have a split shot down there, but now what's interesting is I use these little. Let's see if we can see it if it stops moving. These are called trout magnet hooks, right? So this is like a 1/32 if it's lighter than that. But it's I just like the hook that's on these dudes, and the fact that it has just a little bit of weight, on the hook itself, helps out a little bit. But you could use a regular jig head, I guess, a regular lead jig or whatever you want to use. You can use whatever you want, I guess. Ooh, wrong way. I just happened to pick these up. We were actually in Bristol, Tennessee, and we were there just kind of messing around on the dock of the house we rented for that time. So we ran to Walmart. There was a bunch of those there, and I figured, well, if anything else, they'll work good for bluegill, and they did while we were there. So I just ended up buying a bunch of them. They're cheap enough. Oh, Micah, what are you doing? Yeah, I bet that's all they're doing. They're just cruising up and down these rocks here. Oh yeah, another yellow bass. Good deal. Because the other way I like to fish these yellow bass, especially this size, if you remember how I was doing the shad, I would just, I would scale them, and then I would cut down about halfway, and then I would fillet the rest of this off and cut the tail off. So I get about that much of a chunk, but have all this. Yeah, it's a good bait. They're just a good bait regardless, especially this time of year. Another nice yeller bass. Heck yeah, buddy. Probably to give these dudes a little more water. Another good yellow bass. Ooh. Bluegill. Heck yeah. All right, y'all. Well, as it sits, we are actually doing really well on bait. We actually put the hammer down on a bunch of bluegill and a bunch of really good sized yellow bass, but I'm still gonna run, I'm gonna run up to another spot to try to see if we can't catch a couple big, a couple white bass, just because I want bigger pieces of bait. And see if we can't catch some skipjack too while we're there. Maybe, maybe not. I mean, the water is clear enough on the river that should be there. I don't know, but there is one spot that I've got to stop at and I've got to throw some rods at. I was talking with a friend of mine that we've fished together a few times, and he reminded me of this big brush pile that we used to sit on and did pretty good at a couple times. Not often, but a couple times. But we'll run up, if I can find it, if it's still there, because I haven't even actually looked for it in a while. So if it's still there, I'm going to sit on it for about 30-45 minutes. Then we'll continue on and catch more bait. So I'll see you when we get set up. All right, made it down to another potential bait spot. Let's see if there's anything here. Now that the water's down, most things make sense again. I know osprey absolutely hates it. Happens every year, buddy. But sometimes they're absolutely loaded here. There's one. Good deal, good deal. Get in this boat, buddy. Get in this boat, where you at? Come on, come on, I need you. Get in the boat. Yes, sir, that's a good one there. Yeah, that's a good one there. He was just barely hooked. Yeah, I'll be able to get some big chunks off of this dude. Yeah, this dude here. Heck yeah. Get in there. I like that. All right, let's keep searching. We got one. At least it wasn't a waste. All right, I wanted to come on here and do this outro. I have found myself through these series of videos, you're gonna see some errors on my part. So what I done is I was fishing so long, I forgot to make sure that my wireless mic was charged or stayed charged. So didn't have any power in it, so I had no audio on the end of it. But to sum up the deal, we had caught a bunch of yellow bass and that one big white bass and a bunch of bluegills. So we were good for bait. Pretty much the rest of that particular time, I ran around just trying to find some other spots where I could have possibly caught some more, either white bass or skipjacks, but to no avail. I didn't find really much anything else, but I was looking at it. We had plenty of bait. Turns out we actually had a lot of bait, more than I thought we did, because I just sat there and kept catching. So that was good. So it made it fun. But I wanted to finish up this video. Like I said, I'm going to break this down into a couple different videos in this series, just so I could take a little bit more time on editing and kind of get everything across. But yeah, that'll be the end of the first part of this series, and I appreciate you watching this one, and I'll catch you in the next one.